Joy Reid is miserable and insane, allegedly. Well, perhaps even more tasteless than the fact that Reid promoted the segment with a tweet that read, "Rep hashtag Scalise was shot by a white man with a violent background and saved by a black lesbian police officer. And yet, ellipsis, hashtag AMJoy." She was joined in condemning Scalise by CBS's Scott Pelley, who told viewers, quote, "It's time to ask whether the attack on the United States Congress Wednesday was foreseeable, predictable, and to some degree self-inflicted. If members of the media can't lay off a gravely wounded man as he fights to recover, is it really fair to expect Americans to ease their tone of their discourse? Come on, man." Joining me now to weigh in, it's Town Hall News editor and Fox News contributor, Katie Pavlich. Welcome back, Katie.
Hey, good to be here.
So it's interesting because with Joy Reid's statements, I've talked to a bunch of people about this, and the people I found who were most upset by this are liberals. It is people on the left who want their party to come together with a message so they can reach out to people and stop this nonsense because, you know, if the goal is to get Democrats elected, they are hurting the party and the cause.
Look, if you have to attack someone who you disagree with when he can't defend himself because he's laying in a hospital bed, you know you're losing the argument. I think Democrats and liberals are upset with her behavior and her comments because they keep losing seats. I mean, you look at the bleeding that happened under President Obama, the thousands of seats that were lost under him at the local and federal levels, and the fact that they can't seem to win elections. Tomorrow we'll see what happens in Georgia. They have to make a better argument, and they can't always go to this lazy old place of just simply dehumanizing their opponent and then turning right around and somehow blaming the victim, in this case of real violence and the verge of death, for that behavior, and say something like, well, could we have seen this coming, and was it self-inflicted?
Yeah, man, that is crass. You know, it's like Scott Pelley, like, I understand it from a person like Joy Reid, who is essentially an attention whore, and she's just saying whatever she can to make some news and to make some waves and to poke her base. I totally get that, but someone like Scott Pelley, who considers himself a journalist with a capital J, saying that a Republican congressman who was almost murdered in cold blood by someone who had a deep-seating political motivation. That's like saying that a woman who was raped was asking for it because she was because of what she was wearing. When he uses the term self-inflicted, it is so deeply offensive, regardless of where you stand politically.
Well, and I think we do have to address the moral equivalency here that has been drawn. We have heard for years from the left that it's Republicans and conservatives who need to tone down the rhetoric, and yet here we are. And again, the actions of the attacker last week are his and his alone, but I do not like this brushing under the rug about the fact that this was politically motivated, the fact that this guy was a mainstreamer. He wasn't some guy on the fringe. He was a Bernie Sanders volunteer. He was an Occupy Wall Street protester. Oh, and by the way, who endorsed that movement? Barack Obama and Nancy Pelosi. And yet they argue that it's Republicans who are the ones who are dehumanizing people, that they're taking away people's health care, which is going to result in their deaths. And yet here we have a direct politically motivated attempted murder, and they're just acting like that part of it doesn't even exist. And, oh, by the way, Republicans might be responsible for the guy showing up at a baseball field and shooting them as they're playing baseball.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
Tried to kill everyone on that field. Yesterday I was on the corner of Sunset Boulevard and PCH in Los Angeles, and there was a homeless guy holding up a sign offering to shoot the president for $1.
Oh.
I was like, well,
you're going to need more than $1 to get out of jail if he does that. So might want to ask for some more if that's his goal.
Katie Pavlich, thanks for coming back. I appreciate it.